Hello, I'm TheHappyJawah and welcome to a look at my custom first order transporter. Now, when I made this review back in October, I brought up how it was out of scale, like the length wasn't correct, and Lego sort of cheaped out on accuracy for the sake of hitting that price point, which was still overpriced anyway. But I did say I wanted to customize mine, but at the time no one had actually done their own custom, and because I'm insecure and scared, I didn't want to modify my own without seeing someone else's. But several months down the line now, everyone and their mum has made a custom first order transporter. There was loads of designs for me to look at, and straight away I'll say that a lot of this is not my own work. The side panelling in the cockpit is from Scottish Dave on Eurobricks. He did a post about his custom first order transporter, which is way more impressive than this one. Like, he doubled the size of everything, like the engines, and just made it massive. That his looks super cool. And also for inspiration for the use of the transparent window here, Brick Wizard 59 on YouTube. He's the first custom first order transporter that I actually saw. So thanks to him for inspiring me to make this beautiful model, and I'm definitely far happier with it the way it looks now. So let's just get straight into the actual extension itself. As you can see under here, these two are both black, but then there's this grey panel, sort of difficult to see. But yeah, that grey one is the one I added, and that's literally all I did to extend it, just add another plate the same size as the others. Unfortunately I didn't have it in black, but hey, it doesn't bother me too much. And luckily I did just have one single Technic pole that could go all the way along the underside, like a super long Technic pole, which worked out very nicely because I did like the door feature, and now that this pole I think came in a 2009 city construction set, so this long Technic piece probably won't be widely available. I was very lucky to have that, so yeah, worked out nicely for me. And you can also see I've got some landing gear, which is a super important part of the design that Lego didn't do. Lego seemed to think that the set hovered for some reason, but the very first thing we see it do in The Force Awakens is open up its landing gear. So it was important for me to get that feature in here, and I spent absolutely ages trying to figure out how I was going to do it. I replaced the black brick that used to be all this bit with a Technic pin, so I had plenty of opportunity to stick in the landing gear. And actually, the most simple way really was the best. Like, there isn't much to it, and the main reason it took ages was because I wanted to find a way for it to fold in completely, so that you wouldn't notice it when it was in its flying position. I still left the wheels there, just so it can sort of move around like that. Here's a look at the money shot for you guys. I've added some ridges on the panel and just made all this a bit more grey, so it looks a bit more uniform. I've done lots of little changes, which I won't point out all of them, but if I pull the pin, boom, that opens up, and inside there I've got a bunch of troopers. But if I open up the top here, which I also had to extend, but you can't really tell, which is sort of the point. It's supposed to be a subtle change. And we have a look in here, you can see all those wonderful troopers inside there. It can obviously fit a lot more troopers. This is just all the first order personnel that I have for now. You can fit a lot more people in there if you do it super tightly, if you pack it tightly enough, but I'm pretty happy with the way it looks now. And you can of course get loads of really nice looking shots in there. Just works out very nicely. One of my favourite things to do right here. I don't know what's so satisfying about that. But on the interior, I just sort of made the colours a bit more uniform, like there was blacks and all sorts of different bricks. So I changed that. And then also you'll notice I've added just a control panel on that side, and a control panel on that side that actually has Arabesh on it, which is a cool piece. So I did that just to add a little more detail to the interior of this thing. Yeah, I've also had to add a stud here, just because the added length caused the lid to sort of pop up a bit. So that way it can just connect and stay stuck and nice and flat. These side bits were a bit of a challenge as well, because obviously they had to be extended along with the design. So it was sort of interesting getting that balance between smoothness but also still keeping it Lego-y. Because on the actual design of this thing, it is just completely smooth and flat. It would probably be more accurate to just get rid of these slanted pieces altogether and just have bricks, but that's sort of boring looking, and I wanted to keep that Lego-y design. So in the end, I used this piece off the ATDP from 2010, I want to say, from the Battle of Endor set, and that piece worked really well. I had 2 on each side, because it is nice and smooth, but it still retains that Lego-y studdy look, which I really like. And then just some tile greebling, just sort of break up the boredom. The second hardest bit after the landing gear was this side edge here. And even though the side is mostly smooth on the actual design, one of the big characteristics is these little slopes that stick out on the edges. So it was important for me to get that look. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to do it until I came across Scottish Dave's design, where he, if I clip this off, and you just have the hinge pieces attached on on 2 jumper plates there, and then sort of thin shape, and that just clips onto there. And because it's on the jumper plates, it integrates very nicely with the underside of there, so it's nice and smooth, a nice and smooth transition, which is cool. Beyond that, I've changed the turret a tiny bit. I've just put it on one of the 2x2 jumpers, so that's nice, doesn't spin around too much. This whole turret section is exactly the same. I might change that down the line for reasons that I'll show you now. But on the actual design, again, the cockpit has this sort of nice integration with the main body of the set, which I represented with these slope pieces. But unfortunately, because of the cockpit, it has to suddenly be cut off because of this turret lid here. So I might condense this and make this smaller in a version 2.0, I guess, which I may or may not do. And in that version, I'd probably make this entire lid section with smooth tiles as well, which I've seen, and that looks good, but I just don't have enough smooth tiles at the moment because they're being used in my city. And the main last modification is the drastically smaller cockpit. I mean, I think LEGO did a good job to make a cockpit as condensed as they did. But Scottish Dave found a way to make it even smaller, which makes it all the more accurate. So it can, of course, still fit a minifigure in there, which is super important. So if you flip this lovely smooth door up, you can see a figure in there, just a first order officer. And also, with the light coming through now, you can clearly see the transparent window there. Which is cool. I spent a long time trying to figure out a more accurate way to represent the cockpit, because it's a really weird looking design on the actual thing. So I tried using tiles and all sorts to get that shaping. But in the end it just didn't work, and I remembered Brick Wizard's video and how he just used a transparent glass piece in there, because I wanted to change up the cockpit somehow, and that's what I did. I opened apart the whole cockpit. There we go. So this is done pretty easily. It's just on one of those pieces, clipped on the underside, and then that just sticks right onto there. And it looks pretty smooth. I'm not 100% happy with it, but I can't really think of any other way to pull it off nicely. And when this, when this is down like that, you can't even tell. So that was the most important part. And if I pull this off for a second, pull Mr. First Order Officer out. There he is. He fits in very nicely. Just sitting there, and I kept the control panel sticker in there as well, which is cool. So I'm really happy with the way the cockpit turned out. Again, it's not 100% my design, it's Scottish Dave's, but you know, I added bits and bobs to make it my own. And that is it for the First Order Transporter for the most part. Let me get the landing gear back out. I'm really happy with the landing gear. I think it might be my favourite part of this MOC. So stick that on there. I think you can fit like 4 or maybe even 6 more figures than you could in the original one, which is the most important part, I guess. squeezing in all of them first order troopers. But yeah, I'm not going to ramble on anymore. So yeah, let me give you a quick 360. Another thing that I did like right after the review is cover up all the technical parts there, which was very easy to do. I did that ages ago, which is why I didn't talk about it, but there you go. Yeah, that's it for this video. Sorry it's a little rough, I just wanted to get it done quickly just to show off this transporter and hopefully inspire you to customize your own transporter. Let me know what you think of the designs and changes I've made, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be a LEGO City update, which I'm going to do right after this one. Hello, I'm TheHappyJawah, and I am so glad to finally be reviewing the Awakens First Order Transporter.